I didn't wake up screaming. I woke up, confused. The ceiling above me was unfamiliar, painted in ivory with gold detailing that belonged in a palace, not a bedroom. The sheets beneath my fingers were impossibly soft, the kind you only see in luxury magazines. Even the air felt expensive, warm, scented faintly with vanilla and something darker, richer. This wasn't my life. Memories that weren't mine crashed into me in fragments, the mansion, the staff, the name I now carried, and him. The man everyone feared. The man who ruled from the shadows. The man who had taken me. A mafia boss. And somehow, I was the girl he wanted. Not his wife. Not his partner. Something far more dangerous. His obsession. A knock broke the silence. Before I could answer, the door opened. He walked in like he owned the world, and maybe he did. Tall, dressed in black, his presence swallowed the room whole. His eyes locked onto me instantly. Sharp. Cold. And then, softer. Did you sleep well? His voice was low, controlled, unexpectedly gentle. Gentle. That word didn't belong to him. I froze, unable to respond. My instinct screamed at me to run, but reality hit harder, there was nowhere to go. He stepped closer. Slowly. Carefully. Like I might shatter. I had breakfast prepared, he said. If you want anything else, say it. Anything. Except freedom. My voice finally returned, weak but stubborn. Why am I here? The room stilled. His gaze deepened, not angry, not annoyed. Just certain. Because I chose you. No hesitation. No apology. And just like that, I understood. I hadn't entered a mistake. I had stepped into a cage made of silk. And the man who built it had no intention of letting me go. Days passed in a strange, quiet rhythm. I expected cruelty. Control. Anger. But none of it came. Instead, I was treated like something fragile, something precious. Closets filled overnight with designer dresses. Jewelry placed before me like offerings. Cars I never asked for waiting in the driveway. If I glanced at something twice, it appeared the next day. He watched everything. Not in a suffocating way, but in a way that told me, nothing about me went unnoticed. And yet, he never forced me. Never touched me without hesitation. Never raised his voice. It was unsettling. Because kindness from a dangerous man isn't comfort, it's confusion. One evening, I found him in the garden, standing beneath dim lights. The city stretched behind him, glowing like it belonged at his feet. Why? I asked quietly. He turned to me instantly. Why what? All of this, I gestured around. Why me? For a moment, he said nothing. Then he walked toward me. Slow. Measured. You were the only one who didn't look at me with fear, he said. I frowned. That doesn't make sense. It does to me. His hand lifted, but paused just before touching my face. Like he was asking permission. I don't need the world to understand my choices, he continued softly. Only you. Something about that answer unsettled me more than anything else. Because it wasn't madness. It was certainty. And certainty, from a man like him, was far more dangerous. That night changed everything. I couldn't sleep. Something felt off. The mansion was too quiet. The air too heavy. I sat in the living room, waiting without knowing why. Then, at 2:17 a.m., the doors opened. He walked in. And for the first time, I saw him differently. Blood soaked his white shirt. His hands were stained, dark and thick. A single drop fell onto the marble floor. But it wasn't the blood that froze me. It was his face. No expression. No emotion. His eyes, empty. Like the man I knew had stepped aside, leaving something colder in his place. He didn't notice me at first. Or maybe, he did, and just didn't react. Why you're hurt? I whispered. His gaze shifted to me. And in that instant, something flickered. Life returned. Just a little. It's not mine, he said simply. Not mine. That meant I couldn't think. Couldn't breathe. Because reality hit harder than ever before. He wasn't just powerful. He was capable of killing. Easily. Silently. And I lived inside his world. Inside his reach. Inside his mercy. That night, I went to bed, but sleep never came. Because for the first time, I wasn't just living in luxury. I was living beside danger. After that night, everything changed. Not around me. But inside me. I smiled less. Spoke less. Avoided him without realizing it. My eyes dropped whenever he entered a room. Fear had taken root. And it showed. Of course, he noticed. He always noticed. Days passed in tension neither of us addressed. Until he finally broke it. One evening, as I tried to walk past him, his hand caught my wrist. Firm. Not painful. But impossible to ignore. Before I could react, I was pressed gently, but undeniably, against the wall. His presence surrounded me. Look at me, he said quietly. I couldn't. Are you afraid of me? Silence. My heart pounded violently. I asked you something. His voice didn't rise. But it carried weight. I forced myself to speak. I saw you that night. The words came out trembling. Covered in blood. For a moment. He said nothing. Then. He laughed. Soft. Low. Almost amused. And that confused me more than anything. You think I'd hurt you? He asked. I didn't answer. Couldn't. His hand lifted to my face, slow, careful. You misunderstand something important, he murmured. And then. His tone changed. Not colder. But deeper. I am dangerous, he admitted. Just not to you. I stared at him, searching for something, anything, that would confirm or deny what he said. You expect me to believe that? I whispered. You don't have to believe, he replied calmly. Just observe. His thumb brushed lightly against my cheek. I told you before. I chose you. That doesn't make me safe. It does in my world. There was no arrogance in his voice. Just truth. And that unsettled me more than fear ever could. I helped someone that night, he continued. An accident. He wouldn't have survived otherwise. You were covered in blood. I didn't have time to change. His gaze softened slightly. But you stayed awake for me. I froze. You waited. There it was again, that quiet intensity. Like something small meant everything to him. I don't deserve your fear, he said, almost to himself. But I understand it. For the first time. He stepped back. Giving me space. Giving me control. And somehow. That mattered more than anything else. Time didn't erase the fear. But it changed it. Because I started noticing things I hadn't before. The way he never interrupted me. The way he stepped back when I needed space. The way his entire world bent slightly around my comfort. Danger didn't disappear. But it wasn't directed at me. And slowly. Carefully. I stopped seeing him as a threat. One evening, I found him standing alone again. The city glowing behind him. You could leave, he said suddenly. I blinked. What? If you truly wanted to. I wouldn't stop you. That was the first lie I heard from him. Because I knew. He could stop me. Easily. But the fact that he said it. Meant something. I don't want to leave, I replied quietly. His expression shifted. Just slightly. You're sure? I nodded. And for the first time. I stepped closer. Closing the distance myself. I was scared, I admitted. But, not anymore. That wasn't entirely true. But it was enough. Because fear had changed. It wasn't about survival anymore. It was about understanding. To the world. He was ruthless. Untouchable. Dangerous. But to me. He was the man who softened every edge of himself just to keep me safe. And maybe. Just maybe. I wasn't his prisoner. I was his choice. And this time. I chose him back.